Greetings, my friends. This is Maerlande, and I'm going to continue with Game 60 of the tournament. So here's the big overview. Obviously, I don't have a heck of a lot of intel at the moment, but let's zoom into where there's real action. So first off, you can see I've got all of my Magi out and about. And in order to preserve some money, I've simplified my recruitment for the moment. I wanted to get started. Did I start? Yeah, so I got a palisade going here. That's the first one, and no others yet. But this is one of the larger provinces I have, and I wanted to get it started as quick as possible. So we got 5 months here. So it's really important that I be sure that nobody's going to interfere with that, but there's no risk. Everybody's a long way away. So recruitment is, for the time being, one keeper of the tombs. And you can see I'm grabbing the sacreds, so I'm maxing out the holy points. So let's look at what's happened for battles. An assassination was successful. Ashington. So this one I thought, let's take a look at where that is. I thought that I had killed all the commanders, and risking just one independent commander wouldn't have been a big deal. But I really didn't need the extra troops. I thought maybe I could do it, but it failed. So, not a big cost, a few poison slingers. It was just the leftovers of what was around. Anyways, that's one of the risks with assassinations, is if you miscalculate or you didn't check. So you can see here, this time I'm going to assume that Lugal Admiral will succeed, and this independent commander is going to go over there and try to take the place. Now this army, I think, is quite adequate for the job involved. And because this is probably bordering Vettiheim, I'm not going to try to do assassination on that one. I think a direct attack is better off. So it's some heavy calves, some light calves. Touch and go, but hopefully it'll work if my layout's right. You'll see I've tucked these guys pretty far forward, and I brought along a Holy 2 priest. So let's just cross our fingers that this works. You'll notice I didn't really give any targeting orders, partly because I've kind of found that it's almost better let the poison slingers do what they want, but if you don't want them running up too far forward, you got to put them quite a ways back. And then as far as the tomb guards, I left them in a box just so I can be darn sure they get blessed. Now probably this few a line would have been okay, but that's what I chose to do. Now here we've got 2 assassinations going on, and I'm taking the pretender and putting a bit of the squeeze on Vettiheim. Now very close to when this occurs, and I'd have to go through the private messages, I started negotiating with Vettiheim on a border. And we came to an agreement, and rather than a non-aggression pact, I said, I prefer a fixed term thing. So very quickly here, around this turn, we agreed to a 10-turn border agreement. I sketched out the borders with a screenshot and sent it to him. And then we got scouts going out all over the place on scouts, and I think that's a pretty good summation. Now here, I was trying to save gold for forts and labs and all that fun stuff. So I have not started buying Desert Rangers, but they're pretty good. I mean, the big one is they have poison resist, and that's kind of critical. The huge problem, which I've mentioned, is anything that doesn't have poison resist just doesn't do well with Satis. You'll notice I've got some buying up a few things. Looks like I didn't buy another independent commander. I don't really have anybody moving back here to pick up these guys, so that's a bit of an error. Oh, no, here I bought one, so he can go back and pick up what I need. And given that I only have a couple of stuff going on, but I'm buying scouts just about everywhere. So I think that sums up turn 7. Fairly simple turn. So let's move on to turn 8. The game is now on turn 20. So time dependent, I will go over turn 7, 8, 9, and 10. All right, so assassinations. Successful, successful, successful. Oh, look at that. Here comes Andromania with a very simple army. He took a bit of a beating here. Everybody said these guys are scary. Now, I've looked at these guys. Well, yeah, and they're pretty cheap. So we could speed this up. Oh, why don't I have any sound on the sound effects? All right, just going to pause here while I sort that out. Okay, back to where we were, and I fixed that little sound problem. I mean, I've got the battle sounds very low, but it's still, I think, nice to at least have them in there. So, very simple. Just using a magistrate. Leadership's kind of, whatever. And here these guys go. Big halberds, good protection, size 4, lots of hit points, formation fighter. They're not in formation though, so that doesn't do them any good, and more or less, no script whatsoever. But look at that. They beat the heck out of these cavalry. I think we could speed this up. And the poor cavalry get shot too. So there we go. That's pretty much okay. That's it. The cavalry's running. Oh boy, some of these guys are running away. And yes, they run away. Now, probably some of them are crippled up. Not too much. We can kind of go off. Oh, excuse me. Kind of go up how many hit points they got, but there may be a few crippled. Anyways, he did not win that fight. Now, where was that? That was here. Okay, so he's coming up to be on the border, but I don't think that's a huge issue. You can see I'm pushing scouts out, pushing scouts out. What do we got moving here? Okay, we're coming along with the little bit of dudes. Now, these guys, terrible leaders, so I'm just going to wait. And this guy is a hero, and he's got Monster Summoner. So I did look this guy up, but we'll see soon enough what he gets. Now, Dominion Summoner, let's just look at that. The key here is this is affected by the amount of your friendly Dominion. So best, let's turn candles on. And that is Control F. Okay, so that is dependent on the candles, the Dominion, in the province he's in. So I'm going to leave him where he could do the most good for his summoning. He's pretty thuggish, but at this point in time, I need troops. Okay, so we had a look at the layout here. Pretty simple. Now, hold on a minute. Okay, yeah. Now, other fights. Ashington we took. All right, so we finally got that. Now we're going to move the assassin over here. And this guy, if I did this right, he's just going to hold twice and retreat. Because I know there's going to be probably 3 commanders. And I just want to probe it, find out what's there. Over here, we've got 2 more assassinates. Now, where did I succeed at assassinate? That was there. And that was here. So we got 2, right? Okay, we got 2. So this guy should win, as best we know. Just in case, though, I'm doing an extra step, because I hadn't probed, so there could be more than 3. It does happen. Now up over here, all right, we're sending the Pretender to take out these horse drives. Pretender did just fine. I don't think there's much to see there. Well, we'll have a real quick look. Let's do Super Speedy. Here comes Super Speedy. Buff. And that's it. Whoops, sorry. Getting a little hyper excited. All right, so do they do any damage? Well, very, very little. And he's massively regenerating. And they run very quickly. So, no problems. No problems. Now, I had a question show up on Discord about why didn't I go with the dirt cheap minimal line? Why did I go with less? Well, the answer is, I think it's more fun, and I think it's stronger after testing, to have some bless for the tomb guards and eventually my sacreds when I start reanimating. But I haven't started that because in testing, the number of worms or whatever I can get is just not enough to make a difference during the first year. But that little bit of regen, which is pretty darn cheap bless, makes a huge difference on the attrition of the tomb guards. Very large difference. Now, if you look at tomb guards, they're fairly good hit points, great protection, size 3, so 3 per square, but the regen really does help. Okay, now anything much else to see? Sending scouts, making scouts, making basic commanders, making scouts. So we want to find out as much as we can. And then I started talking to Andromania as soon as I spotted him. I generally do that. As soon as I kind of see who my neighbors are, I start talking to them. That's the diplomatic style I prefer. People ask, well, do you tell the truth in your diplomacy? And I said, well, I generally tell the truth, but I don't tell them everything. I mean, I'll tell them, here's where I'm planning to go, and we can negotiate and try not to bump, because this early in the game, unless you have an intention to try to rush someone and kill them, bumping doesn't do any good. And my build is scales-based. Well, it's a hybrid, but my scales are good enough that the longer the game goes, the better off I am. Misfortune doesn't have a lot of effect on that, and my Dominion's kind of low, so you can go into that, but Misfortune is less damaging because it only affects the provinces you own, and it's based on the candles of yours. I'm not going to go into great detail in this talk about that. You can look it up. There's lots of discussions. There's guides. But in effect, one of the reasons I went growth was to get more recruitment points. The other reason was I preferred it over death in this case, because this is a build that's meant for the middle game. Not for long late games, but for the middle. And Misfortune is less damaging. Okay, I think we've kind of covered everybody. Let's just have a look. So I got sneakings. We should look at recruitment. Okay, so I've switched out. Now I'm focusing on, which ones did I get? Halberdiers, yeah. So I'm trying to use up as many resources as I can. And halberdiers are more efficient. Poison slingers are great, but I'm definitely saving gold. And as I can, I'm going to work over here to get this guy, the keeper, to put up a temple and to put up a lab. But in the interim, I just have to wait for the palisade. And I'm going to start another fort because my target is 3. As soon as I get somewhere that's good, 2 away from the capital. Okay, I think that's enough on turn 8. Now, somebody asked, would I show off detailed battles? And I said, absolutely. If you're really interested in me going into a deep dive on a battle, send me a message and I'll do a little supplemental video on just that battle. But for the general purposes, I'm going to go over things on a sort of speedier basis, keep up the flow and keep up the chat. That way, folks who really want detailed analysis of battles could ask, and I'll make them. But from what I've learned, most viewers are looking for an overview and an interesting talk. Okay, let's jump ahead to turn 9. And I think we should be able to make turn 10. Unless there's really interesting things. Okay, priest, successful. Successful on the mounted commander. Oh, look at that, a Dracolich. This is worth watching. Let's see what he's got for a pretender. So a Dracolich. Okay, does he have bless? Looks like it. I didn't notice if he's in his dominion. Lots of attacks on a Dracolich, lots of hit points. He's going to have a pretty simple bless based on that, and probably a good incarnate, but we don't know what it is yet. We could speed this up. Look at that, plague breath. All right, so they should be. Are they hit by the plague? I don't see it doing much yet. There we go. There we go. Let's see what killed those ones. Hit with claw. Oh, okay. No. The plague breath doesn't seem to be doing a heck of a lot. What does it really do? Plague breath. Magic resistance negates. It's a beam. Oh, it does extra fear. Okay, so it's fear. Yep, that's it. Okay, well, there you go. Been a long time since I mucked with a Dracolich. And there he goes. He flies to the next bunch, scares away all the archers, and it's over. It is over. Okay. We've seen what we want to see there. For me, okay, the lion does its job. Totally demolishes the horse tribe. The commander does its job. And we got beat up a bit. Now, I suspect that we've done enough damage to take this next turn. So I was a little short on front line. Oh, shoot. And the timing of the poisoners was not good. See, look at that. Well, okay. I should have set them to target cavalry. My mistake. But you can see the regen is helping. It is definitely helping. Okay, so the cavalry run. The militias are going to run. But because I lost so many in poison slingers, sorry about the too quick zooming here. I just don't kill enough. Yeah, so I route. But there are no more heavy cav. They basically all ran. The militias ran. So depending on the situation, we should be able to get unexpected. A cloud mage. Cool. Okay, so I put him on search. All right, so I'm taking the risk that I can finish this off. I don't know if this is going to work, but we'll find out soon. And we took this one. Alrighty. And we're doing a search, and we're sending this guy to go over here. If nothing else, that'll be the next step. Got an assassination here. As I mentioned, this guy, Keeper of the Tombs, is going to move here. We're sending independent commanders to collect all the troops. And notice I've got Urugalu moving up because this is now 5 candles. So that's my max. So he can keep doing. I mean, look at that. Pretty good. In a single turn. You got 18 of the good Sons of Alligators. These guys are good. 2 attacks, good stats, good protection, decent hit points, size 3. You know, they're good. Now, for now, there's no script because I don't expect they're going to have to do anything. And the Dracolich, not going to do anything. So I've taken my prophet out of here because the prophet is basically pushing Dominion. I'm not risking him. He's not assassinating. He's there to push Dominion where I want to move the Pretender. I'm going to leave this one because Betty can't get it. And I'm quite confident that we agreed on the border. So I will say that the border we agreed was like this. And as far as the thrones, we agreed that none of us are going to worry about these thrones right now because the amount of defenders is way beyond anybody's armies at this time. And during testing, I found that attempting to take thrones was a poor choice because there will be very difficult sorcerers and cloud mages and all kinds of stuff that you won't see and the empoisoners can't take. So while you might end up killing off priests and mounted commanders in plane, there's going to be big tough stuff. This one, I'm guessing that there'll be some big super combatant with lots of gems and huge magic. So that's going to take a serious army. Okay, I think, let's have a quick look. So the various empoisoners are moving into position. Nobody's researching at this point in time because my goal is get big, nice and big. So that's a good line. I'd like it a little higher, but still, it's still good. Okay, I think I've covered everything I want to cover. The palisade. So notice I've swapped out here. And I'm moving this guy forward because I've started to make some desert rangers. I don't get very many, but they add up over time. And I'm just having a scout build the palisade. You notice I pumped the defense a bit, just in case of a barbarian attack or something. And then I pumped my border defense a little bit, typically 6. Now here, let's have a look. So these are horse tribe, which aren't bad. They're not amazing. So my general decisions on province defense is typically I go with 6, sometimes 7. A particular example, if I can find one. There we go. No, that one I went 7, but not the reason. Okay, here we have heavy cav. Now the magic happens typically at 7. Sometimes some people like to go to 11. I'll leave that for detailed discussions after the fact. And do we want to do one more turn? No, I'm gonna wait. I'm gonna call this done. Now I don't have any jokes today, because I didn't look any up and I haven't thought of any good ones. I did come up with a really stupid one. Do I remember what it is? No, I don't. All right, rather than spend time sorting out jokes, call this a full episode. If you want to see more of the details, as I said, send me a message, either on YouTube, Discord, email, whatever way you want to send it to me. Ask me questions, and I can do a supplemental. All right, everybody, have a good one. See you soon.